Hello, my friend. Where are you listening from tonight? Is it a quiet room, beneath a patchwork of stars, or somewhere softer wrapped in blankets, where the world is finally hushed? Wherever you are, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the Dream Lab, a place where sleep meets wonder, and the universe tucks stories beneath your pillow. Tonight, we're drifting into a question that's older than memory, and quieter than flame. What happens when a star forgets it was ever fire, when light so ancient forgets the heat it once carried and simply becomes a shimmer in the sky, waiting to be noticed by your eyes? We'll explore how starlight is a memory, how what you see in the sky tonight is not the star itself, but the ghost of its warmth traveling across time just to reach your gaze. We'll learn how the universe is full of forgotten fires, how galaxies send out messages long after they've gone cold, and how you, quietly lying here, are part of that story too. So close your eyes if you'd like. Let the noise of the day soften, and let your thoughts slow into stillness. There's no rush here, only wonder, and a soft space to drift inside it. If this journey brings you peace, or stirs a gentle kind of awe, you're always welcome to return, or share this quiet with someone you love. Now, let's begin with the first forgotten flicker. A star that only remembers it once was fire. Have you ever looked at a star and wondered if it still exists, or only glows in memory? Tonight, we begin in the moment light broke free, not from a lamp or a match, but from the heart of something ancient, a star being born. This chapter traces the soft beginning of light's long journey, how photons, like tiny messengers, escape stellar prisons and sail for billions of years just to reach the back of your eye. And what does that mean? When light from a star touches you, long after the star has gone quiet, it begins quietly, not with sound, but with pressure, with heat rising in the hidden womb of a star. Deep inside, a cloud of gas and dust, a hush gathers into gravity. Atoms fall inward, closer and closer, until their closeness becomes unbearable. They press until they change. And in that pressure, something ancient ignites. Not fire, not in the way you know it, but fusion. The stitching together of hydrogen into helium. A whisper becoming flame so intense it cannot stay quiet. And when it can no longer hold its breath, the star begins to shine. Light, tiny, weightless, restless, is born. But at first it cannot leave. For millions of years, that newborn light is trapped inside the star, bouncing, colliding, ricocheting between atoms, like a thought that cannot find a way out. A single photon, a particle of light, may take tens of thousands of years to reach the surface of its own star. You think of light as fast, but even light has to wait. When it finally escapes, it spills outward. Not in a line, but in all directions, a bloom of brightness stretching across space. Most of it never touches anything. It travels untouched, unbothered, unseen. But some, just a few tiny particles of light, will find their way to the soft curve of your eye as you lie quietly under the stars. What you're seeing, what you've always seen, is not the star as it is now, but the star as it once was. Because light takes time, and space, despite how empty it seems, is vast enough to stretch time into memory. When you gaze up at the North Star, you are seeing it as it was hundreds of years ago. The light took that long to reach you, and if it vanished tonight, you would still see it shining for generations to come. Farther stars, their light has been traveling for thousands, sometimes millions of years, some for billions. You are lying beneath a sky made of ghosts, but not the haunting kind, the gentle kind, the kind that traveled light years just to be with you in this moment. They don't speak, but they shimmer. And that shimmer is the story of their journey. Because light isn't just brightness. It carries information, not in words, but in waves. Color, temperature, direction, distance. Each photon is a silent letter from a star, written across time, and your body knows how to read. Your eye, even closed, even resting, is shaped by light. The rhythms of your body follow the turning of the planet beneath the sun's gentle command. Your skin wakes with light, your mind sleeps in its absence, and here, in the hush of night, you lie in the presence of ancient fire. Even if it no longer burns, a photon from a distant star touches your eye, is absorbed, and disappears into your biology. Just like that, a billion-year journey ends by becoming part of you. What does it mean to receive something that traveled through time only to vanish the instant it meets you? It means this: you are the final page of a very long letter, and though the star may have dimmed, its message is alive because you noticed it. You quiet, tired, breathing slowly, are part of that story now. You don't need to understand the equations to feel the weight of that dot. Light is not just about vision, it's about connection. Every photon is a thread, and the universe is still stitching things together with them. You are woven into that pattern, whether you're awake to see it or not. So tonight, as your breath slows, remember this: the light that touches you is older than anything you've ever known, and still it finds you. Still, it chooses your moment. Still, it finishes its journey by disappearing softly into your eyes and your mind and your dreams. And if light can remember its path across a billion years, what else remembers? What other fire, burning quietly now, once blazed in the heart of the universe, or in you? Because the stars still burn. But many also go quiet. And yet their stories still shine. In the next chapter, we'll drift closer to that mystery. What lies beneath the calm shimmer of a star? What burns behind the beauty? And how something so far can shape the elements inside your bones? Don't you see them every night? Quiet, scattered stars, twinkling like frost on black velvet. They seem so still, so far, so peaceful, but beneath that gentle shimmer, a storm is always burning. Stars are not gentle. They are wild hearts of fire. Deep in the center of every star, there is a place no eye will ever see. Not even the most powerful telescope can reach into that heart. There, matter is not soft. It is crushed, atoms pressed together until they can no longer remain themselves. Hydrogen becomes helium. Helium becomes carbon. And deeper still, more elements are born in a slow, radiant chain reaction. It is not destruction. It is creation by heat. The same way your body sweats in summer or warms in sleep. The universe radiates, but stars do so with such intensity that they become visible across galaxies. You feel none of that heat here, curled beneath your blankets. But you are here because of it. Your blood carries iron forged in a dying star's final breath. The calcium in your bones, that quiet strength beneath your skin, was once born in stellar collapse. You are not separate from the stars. You are what happens when their fire cools into life. It's easy to forget, lying here, that you are a result of explosions. That your body is an arrangement of ash that learned how to breathe. But the stars don't forget. Their light travels across eons to find the children of their flame. Even though they're so far away, even though their heat can't touch you, their fire is still inside you. Every time you think a thought, move a hand, take a breath, that energy can be traced back to nuclear fusion deep inside a star. Stars are factories, but not the kind that hum. They roar. They burn without pause for billions of years. And then, they let go. Some fade gently, some collapse into themselves. Some go out in a flash so bright it can outshine an entire galaxy for a few moments of farewell, but by then, they've left something behind. Particles, light, memories. The night sky above you is not only filled with stars that are, but stars that were. Stars that no longer burn, but whose fire lingers in your bloodstream, your thoughts, your quiet dreams. They forgot they were fire because they became something else, and now, so have you. You are not glowing with visible light. You do not burn like they do, but in the small, hidden places, in the mitochondria of your cells, in the gentle heat of your skin, you echo them. Soft fire, dimmed, but not gone. The star has not disappeared. It has changed its form. It has passed the torch to you, and as you lie here, in the hush of night, you carry their warmth without flame. In the next chapter, we'll drift into another kind of memory, one not held in your bones, but in light itself. Because the stars may forget they were fire, but the light remembers everything. Light is not just something you see. It is something you receive, something that lingers. Long after the source has vanished, a star does not need to speak to be remembered. Its light is enough, and that light, gentle, ancient, traveling across darkness, becomes memory the moment it reaches you. Close your eyes for a moment. You don't need to look at the stars to feel their presence. Even behind your eyelids, there is still light, a soft afterglow, a hum just beneath your awareness. Your body remembers light the same way it remembers warmth, or the softness of a voice from childhood. Memory doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your cells, your senses, your quiet moments of wonder. When you gaze at a star, you're not just looking at something. You're looking through time. You're catching a photon that left its home long before you were born. That photon may have passed by other stars, glided along the edge of gravity wells, escaped the pull of entire galaxies just to meet the curve of your eye in this moment. And when it touches you, it disappears. It gives itself to you in silence. That is memory. Not stored in boxes, but offered gently. At the edge of perception, the way light travels is the way memory moves through time, always forward, but carrying the signature of the past. The star you see tonight may have died long ago, but its light lives on, a perfect record of what it once was. And you, just by noticing it, keep it alive a little longer. Inside your brain, light triggers something beautiful. Tiny receptors catch the photon, and an electrical signal fires. Neurons shimmer, patterns unfold, and suddenly, a thought is born. I see a star. But that's not all. The light also wakes other memories. The smell of a summer night, the echo of a lullaby, the feeling of your hand once held in another's. Your brain begins to braid them together, the now, the then, and the always. All from a distant flicker in the sky. In this way, starlight becomes more than an image. It becomes a feeling. Your memory isn't just data. It's sensation, emotion. The soft shimmer of presence long after the fire has gone out. And so, you carry stars inside you in more ways than one. You carry their atoms. You carry their energy. And now, you carry their light as a memory woven gently into the fabric of your night. Memory is fragile. But starlight is patient. It does not rush. It does not fade easily. It waits for eyes to find it. It waits to be remembered. And you, curled here in the quiet, beneath the hush of the cosmos, are remembering things far older than words. A photon is a time capsule made of light, and when it lands on you, you become its final resting place. You, who blink and breathe and dream, are the last stop in a journey billions of years long. That is what it means to be alive in the presence of starlight, to look up and unknowingly accept a story the universe has been waiting to tell you. So the next time you feel far from things, remember this: the stars don't just shine, they send their memory, their warmth, their past, and you, quiet, wondering, drifting into sleep, are one of the few beings who can receive it. You are the memory keeper, the soft observer, the place where starlight ends and becomes something new. In the next chapter, we'll explore what that light made, how the fire of distant stars left fingerprints inside your very body, because you are not separate from the stars you remember, you are what they became. There is a story being told quietly in your body, not in words, but in atoms, in the slow chemistry of breath, in the weight of your bones. You are not just alive, you are composed, written by the stars themselves. Long before your lungs learned to rise and fall, before your heart shaped its first rhythm, before even the earth cooled into oceans, there were stars. And those stars lived fast and hot. In their cores, simple elements were pressed together until they became complex. Hydrogen became helium. Helium became carbon. And carbon, that quiet builder, became the scaffold for every living thing to come. When those stars died, they didn't just go quietly. They exploded. A supernova is not destruction. It's a kind of gift. An offering of everything the star has made, cast outward into space, in a final act of brightness. The iron in your blood, forged in that fire, the calcium in your teeth, scattered from the ashes of a dying star, the oxygen in your breath, formed by fusion in a star that no longer exists. You don't carry stardust. You are stardust. The stars didn't just make the sky, they made you. And so, your body is a constellation that no telescope can see. Inside you, molecules orbit molecules, like planets around suns. There is gravity in your gaze. There is light in your cells. You shimmer quietly, even in sleep. You may not feel it, not during the noise of the day, but in the stillness of night, when your breath slows, you can sense it. The calm weight of history folded into your flesh, not the history of empires, but the history of stars. And here's something soft to hold. Nothing in your body is new. Every part of you was once something else. An atom in your hand may have once belonged to a mountain, or a cloud, or a comet. There is no boundary between you and the cosmos. No hard edge between skin and sky. You are not under the stars. You are part of their unfolding. You are a chapter in a very long story written in elements, revised by time, spoken now in breath. So when you lie awake, wondering if you matter, if your story means anything in the vastness of space, remember this: the stars did not burn for nothing. They burned for this. For you, for the moment your eyes would look up and wonder. You are not a visitor here. You are the outcome, the poem the universe keeps whispering in every cell, in every heartbeat, in every sigh that says, I am still here. And that matters. That is the story. In the next chapter, we'll leave behind the stars themselves, and drift into the spaces between them, not empty spaces, but places where gravity hums, where silence stretches like a soft fabric, waiting to be heard. The night sky is full of stars, but between them is quiet. Vast stretches of blackness, uncounted and unlit, float between the bright ones, silent, steady, still, and yet this silence is not empty. It is full of something deeper. From where you lie now, wrapped in blankets, you see the stars like scattered lanterns hanging on a velvet dome. But the truth is stranger and gentler. Most of the universe isn't made of stars. Most of it is space. Stillness, distance, silence so deep it cannot be heard, only felt. These in-between spaces stretch so far that light itself takes years to cross from one star to another, decades, centuries, eons, and in these dark corridors, gravity hums, invisible yet firm. It cradles galaxies, guides wandering moons, pulls the stars into dance without ever touching them. You might think of silence as nothing, as an absence. But here, in the cosmos, silence is full of structure, dark matter, gravity wells, invisible threads connecting everything through quiet tension. Just like in you, there are spaces inside your mind you do not speak of, gaps between thoughts, hollows between memories, and yet, those spaces shape you. They give room for reflection, for pause, for the soft unfolding of dreams. In the same way that space gives stars their stage, your inner silence gives your life its rhythm. Not everything has to burn to matter. Not everything needs to shine to be real. Even the quietest things shape the world. Astronomers have learned to listen to this silence. They study the gaps to understand the whole. They measure gravity not by seeing it, but by how light bends around it. They map the invisible by observing its effect on what glows. And perhaps you do the same. You notice the presence of grief by the shape it leaves in joy. You feel the echo of love by the stillness it leaves behind, the silence between the stars. And the silence within you are not so different. Each holds a map of what once was, and what still might be. So rest now, if you'd like. Let your thoughts widen like galaxies, drifting apart. Let your breath stretch into the quiet spaces that don't need filling. There is peace in the not absence, but presence, soft and formless. The stars may speak in light, but the universe listens in silence, and tonight you are allowed to listen to. In the next chapter, we'll follow that silence further into the strange, beautiful way gravity can bend even the straightest paths of light. Because, in a universe full of stillness, even light learns to take the long way home. Light is supposed to travel in straight lines, but in this universe, nothing is ever that simple. Even light, the fastest thing we know, can be persuaded to curve, to wander, to bend softly around things unseen, and the one who guides it is gravity. You might think of gravity as the force that holds you to your bed, that presses you gently into the mattress as your breathing slows for sleep. But gravity does more than hold, it shapes. It carves invisible paths through space and time. It is not a push or a pull, but a folding, a soft warping of the fabric everything floats on. Imagine a sheet stretched tight. Now place a marble in the center. The marble sinks, and the sheet curves. Now roll another marble across that sheet, and it bends toward the first one. Not because they reach for each other, but because the space between them has changed shape. This is what gravity does to light. Not with hands, not with force, but with patience. When a star's light passes near a massive object, a galaxy, a black hole, even a cluster of dark matter, its path curves. It bends, as if considering a different route. Astronomers call this gravitational lensing. It's how we see the unseen, how we know there are galaxies hidden behind other galaxies, how we glimpse echoes of things we cannot touch. Light, that tireless traveler, remembers where it came from, but allows itself to be changed along the way. Just like you are not made of light, but your path bends to. Every person you meet, every moment of joy or sadness, every decision and delay, they shape your journey. Your course may change, but your core remains. You keep moving, just not always in the way you expected. And that's not a flaw. It's grace. It's how the universe writes stories. not in straight lines, but in arcs, curves, soft detours. Sometimes, when we look through a telescope, we see something strange. A galaxy, repeated multiple times, wrapped in rings of light. This is not magic, it is gravity at work, bending light around massive objects, so that we see the same thing from different angles at once. The universe, like memory, shows us different versions of the same truth. And it asks us to be gentle with that truth, to understand that what we see is shaped by what we pass by. So too, with your memories. With your stories, they bend as they age. They shimmer in different light. That doesn't make them less true. It makes them deeper. So lie here now, beneath the quiet curve of stars, and let your path soften. Let gravity hold you, not as a chain, but as a cradle. There is nothing wrong with taking the long way. Even light does it. Even starlight learns to listen to the shapes around it. In the next chapter, we'll look back at you from the star's point of view. Because the light doesn't just travel one way. You shine, too. You spend your nights looking up at the stars, but have you ever wondered if they look back? Not with eyes, but with reflection, with resonance, with the memory of your presence carried in light. Because you, too, are made of light. Right now, as you lie still and breathing, your body glows, not like a bulb, not like a star, but gently. Soft pulses of light, called biophotons, whisper from your skin, your cells, your breath. You may not see it, but your body is not dark. It emits, it sends out tiny waves of light. Faint and constant, a soft conversation between biology and space. You are not just a receiver of light. You are a sender. Every movement, every sigh, every warm touch radiates energy outward, and that energy does not vanish. It travels, reflects, continues. If someone on a distant world had a perfect instrument and pointed it just right, they might catch a glimmer of you, the faint echo of your body's warmth crossing the void. You would be small, so small, but not invisible. Light remembers. Even your smallest moments leave impressions on the sky. A photon that reflects off your hand may travel for thousands of years before it strikes a rock, a cloud, or an alien sea. And when it arrives, it carries your shape in its wave. So many nights, you've looked upward, searching for meaning. But what if the sky remembers you too? What if the act of looking is a kind of touch? In quantum physics, there is a strange and beautiful idea that the act of observing can change what is observed. Just by noticing something, you participate in its becoming, and the universe may do the same to you. So when you gaze into the stars, know this: you are not separate, you are not a visitor, you are not unseen. The light of the stars meets your gaze, and your light, however faint, travels back in this way. You and the sky are in dialogue, a quiet exchange of energy and attention, woven across time. You shine in ways you cannot measure, and that is enough. Let this bring you comfort. Let it soften your shoulders. Let it quiet your thoughts. You do not have to try. You are already sending light into the vastness, not by effort, but by existing. The universe notices, the stars receive you, and the sky, even in silence, keeps your reflection. In the next chapter, we'll travel inward, into the spiral galaxies, inside your own mind. Because the stars above you aren't the only ones spinning. There's a universe blooming quietly within you. Too, somewhere in the quiet between your last thought and your next breath. A galaxy spins, not above you, within you. Because the same universe that scattered stars across space also built the spirals inside your brain. If you could float above your mind and look down at its quiet motion, you'd see a shimmering web, billions of neurons flickering with electricity. like stars on fire. These cells form constellations. They blink, pulse, and echo, whispering to one another in patterns that build dreams, memories, and quiet thoughts like this one. It looks familiar, like something you've seen before. And you have, because galaxies, those vast spinning storms of stars, share this shape: spirals, branches, networks. The universe echoes itself in the smallest of places. Even in you. Science calls this structural similarity. But we might call it poetry. It's as if the cosmos, in creating itself, left reflections scattered throughout. The branching of trees, the veins in a leaf, the lightning on a stormy night, all mirror the threads in your mind. Even now, as you rest in darkness, your thoughts flicker quietly, like galaxies dreaming in sleep. You are made of both starlight and structure, of matter and memory. And when your mind wanders, when you drift into imagination or dream, your neurons light up in soft, star-like pulses. A galaxy of thought. The brain doesn't glow like a star, but it behaves like one. Energy moves through it, lightning quick and delicate, creating the symphony of self. And it never truly rests. Even now, as you relax, your mind hums gently, not with noise, but with potential. You are stardust that learned to think, that learned to remember, that learned to dream. And that dreaming is a form of motion. In deep space, galaxies drift slowly apart, but in your mind they spiral inward, building meaning from memory, from emotion, from experience. You are a map of your own becoming. Every thought is a star you've lit from within. Every dream is a constellation only you can trace. So breathe deeply, let your inner sky settle, let the spinning quiet, not into stillness, but into peace. You do not need to understand the full shape of your galaxy to feel it humming within you. You only need to rest and let it be, because even galaxies sleep, and even stardust, when gathered with care, can become something as tender as you. In the next chapter, will drift into your breath itself, and the atoms it carries, because every breath you take contains pieces of stars, and nothing you inhale tonight is truly new. Breathe in gently and out. Feel how soft that is, how invisible. You may not notice it, but every breath you take is made of stories older than the sky you sleep beneath. Air is not empty, it is memory in motion, and each time you breathe, you invite the universe inside you. The oxygen in your lungs tonight was made in a star. Not in this galaxy, perhaps, but somewhere far away, in the dense core of a star that once burned hot, and then let go. In that release, it scattered its elements, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, into the great quiet sea of space, and those atoms drifted. For millions of years, they wandered, joining dust clouds, hitching rides on comets, folding into new planets, new skies, new breath. Eventually, they arrived here, to this world, this room, this moment. To you. Right now, you are breathing atoms that once belonged to stars, to oceans, to trees, to ancient creatures long vanished. The same nitrogen you inhale may have passed through the lungs of a whale, or a sparrow, or a person standing beneath a sunrise thousands of years ago. Nothing in your breath is new, and that is the miracle, because the universe never wastes a thing. You may think of breathing as a quiet background rhythm, something you do without thought, but it is a ceremony, a reunion. Each breath is a soft reminder that you are not separate from the sky, from the sea, from the past. You are part of a circle that loops and loops, invisible but unbroken. Let your next breath be slower. Notice it now. Feel the cool air enter, pause, and leave. That is not just oxygen, it is history. It is stardust. Your lungs receive it without effort. Your blood carries it without complaint. Your cells turn it into life, over and over again. Even as you sleep, your body continues this ancient exchange, light from stars, transformed into movement, into thought, into the warmth of your resting limbs. Inhale, exhale. This is the rhythm of the universe, of galaxies expanding, of stars collapsing, of planets cooling. And of you, resting now, wrapped in breath that has traveled more miles than you ever will. So, as you drift toward sleep, let this comfort you. You are not simply breathing air. You are breathing the memory of everything that ever was, and your body, in its quiet wisdom, knows exactly what to do with it. You are not just alive, you are shared. You are made of borrowed atoms singing a lullaby older than time. In the next chapter, we'll journey to the moment a star goes quiet, when fire fades, and something new begins. Because, even in endings, the universe makes room for wonder. Not all stars burn forever. Even the brightest fires eventually soften into stillness. And when they do, the universe does not mourn, it listens, it learns. It makes something new. Because when a star grows quiet, it isn't the end. It's a transformation. Imagine a star so big you could fit millions of Earths inside it, burning for billions of years, pulsing with light and gravity. Now, imagine it slowing, its fuel running low, its fusion fading. The outward pressure that once balanced its collapse begins to give way. The star shrinks, not gently, but with force. Its outer layers drift off, or explode outward in a final brilliant goodbye, and at its center, a dense, trembling core remains. Sometimes, it becomes a white dwarf, a glowing ember of what once was, no longer burning, but still warm for billions of years. Sometimes it collapses further into a neutron star, where atoms are crushed so tightly they become a sea of pure density, spinning in silence like a cosmic heartbeat. And sometimes, for the most massive stars, it goes further still. It becomes a black hole. Not a thing, but a horizon, a place where space and time curve inward, where not even light escapes. And yet, even there, the story does not end. The matter from that star, its carbon, oxygen, iron, is scattered across the cosmos, into gas, clouds, into planets, into breath, into you. You carry the remnants of stars that ended long ago, not in destruction, but in donation, a quiet generosity you never needed to ask for. And here, in your own life, there are endings, too. Moments that burn out, feelings that soften, stories that stop mid-sentence. But endings are not failures. They are transitions. Pauses before the next form begins. Just like stars, you change your shape. You glow. You fade. You begin again. So let go tonight. Whatever you're holding to, tightly release it. Let it drift like stardust into the wider sky of your becoming. You are allowed to grow quiet. You are allowed to rest. There is wisdom in soft endings. In hush, in waiting, even in the dark, the story continues. Somewhere, a star is dimming, and somewhere else, a new one is forming from the ashes. The universe balances itself with gentle precision, and you, even now, are part of that balance. In the next chapter, we'll drift toward those new beginnings, to the birth of stars in cosmic nurseries, and the slow gathering of light from silence. Because, for every star that grows quiet, a new one begins to breathe. Somewhere in the deep quiet between galaxies, where light is soft and gravity hums like a lullaby, a star is being born. You can't see it yet, it hasn't begun to shine. But already, it stirs. In the dust, in the cold, Something is gathering. A breath that has not yet begun to exhale. These are the nurseries of stars, vast clouds of gas and dust, stretching across light years, filled with particles too fine to see. They drift, they wait. But in time, gravity begins its soft work. It pulls gently at first, dust meeting dust, gas folding into gas, until one corner of the cloud becomes just heavy enough to collapse. The fall inward is slow, but unstoppable, and, as it collapses, it heats. A whisper rises from silence, not of sound, but of temperature, and at the heart of this collapsing cloud, pressure builds. Fusion ignites. Light stirs in the dark. A new star takes its first breath. It won't shine brightly. At first, not for a long while, it will flicker, grow, pull in more matter, build itself slowly from the debris of other stars long gone. Even stars are made of what came before. Nothing begins from nothing. Everything is passed on, and that quiet inheritance is how light returns to the sky. You might think of birth as a single moment, but the universe teaches something gentler. Becoming is gradual. Becoming takes time. There are no sudden starts, only soft shifts, and the slow recognition that something has changed. Just like in you, you grow in silence. You evolve quietly. Sometimes, you don't even notice the light beginning to gather again. But it does, always, even after endings. Especially after endings. So tonight, if you're waiting for something, for clarity, for healing, for a new chapter, remember the stars. They don't rush their beginnings. They form over millennia, in the dark, without noise or spectacle. Then, one day, they shine. So will you. There are stars being born right now in galaxies you've never seen. And though their light won't reach us for millions of years, we already know they exist. We already trust their becoming. Trust your own. Too, even in the dark, your light is forming. Even in stillness, you are becoming something new. In the final chapter, we'll drift back home, to the stardust you carry, to the quiet truth that lives in your body, and to the stars that forgot they were fire. Because they became you. It ends where it began. In fire, in light, in you. But now, that fire doesn't burn in the sky. It breathes in your body. The stars forgot they were fire, because they became something softer, something quieter, something like this breath, this moment, this story. You are not looking at the stars tonight. You are remembering them, not as distant lights, but as the origin of your bones, your blood, your breath. Their fire cooled into atoms, those atoms gathered into oceans, then trees, then creatures, then you. You are not a bystander to the cosmos. You are its continuation, its memory wrapped in skin, that there is stardust in your muscles, oxygen in your breath that once burned inside a sun. The iron in your veins once shimmered in the heart of something too bright to look at, and now, here you are, not glowing, not exploding, but resting. Stillness is not the absence of fire. It is what fire becomes when it learns to hold still. You are the afterglow, the echo, the hush after the roar. Tonight the stars watch you, not as something beneath them, but as something of them. They are not jealous. They are proud, because you are what happened when they let go. When they released all they had made into the wide quiet and trusted it would find shape, it did. It found you. So lie back now. Let yourself feel it, the warmth inside your chest, the pulse in your fingers, the hush in your breath. That is not just your body. That is the universe folded into thought, softened into sleep. The stars didn't disappear. They transformed, and now, when you rest, you carry their light forward in dreams. You are not a spark. You are the glow after the flame. There is no need to chase meaning. You are the meaning. No need to shine brightly. Your quiet light is enough. Even in sleep, you radiate the memory of stars. So rest now, child of stardust, whisper of gravity, echo of light. The stars forgot they were fire, because they became you, and you are exactly as bright as you were always meant to be.